Hi, this is Dr. Michelle Robin with Small Changes, Big Shifts, Building Rhythm and Resilience. And I believe if you'll change one thing a month, one thing for the next 12 months, you'll change your life forever. Thanks for joining me on the journey. Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody in Facebook land. Well, you probably got the PR piece about this Small Changes, Big Shifts podcast today, and our guest's father is ill, so he had to cancel last minute. And I thought, what perfect timing. I just love if you just follow the threads, how it leads you to where you need to be where you need to be in this moment. So today, actually, over the last hour, I've reached out to some people that have been involved in a very important journey. And today happens to be the anniversary of Wellness on a Shoestring, 7 Habits for a Healthy Life. It came out 10 years ago today. On my Facebook, actually, I love Facebook for that reason, for the timeline where people were posting about being there that night. And so I reached out to some people to see who can join me last minute to celebrate the book, but also celebrate and hear about some of their journey and where they've kind of gone the last 10 years. And I want to give a shout out to a lot of people who let me interview them for the book, and I'll do that as we do for the show today. So to remind some of you that don't know this, but back in about 2008, one of my friends, Becca Corfich, who's also one of our writers, Becca Corfich said, you know what, you should meet Charlotte Shelton. And Charlotte at the time was the CEO of Unity Village in Kansas City. And oddly enough, what I do when something rings true to me, I put it on my calendar, because a lot of times it's hard for me to make it happen that fast. And so I put on my calendar for April 2nd of 2008. And I remember that date because my birthday is April 1st. I'm a fool, you know that. And oddly enough, I was at an event that night for a breath workshop. And who did I meet? Charlotte Shelton. I said, oh, by the way, you're on my calendar to reach out to you and meet today. How crazy is that? And Charlotte said, well, you've been on my calendar too, because we are revamping the publishing division at Unity, and we want you to write a book about mind, body, spirit, and medicine. And whoa, if you know me, I can barely talk, let alone write, and don't really have proper English. I always have to think about which there and which where. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Siri, help me out here. So anyhow, I said yes. And then I, of course, went to my team of people and said, oh my gosh, we're going to write this book. And I know what I want to say, but I'm not quite sure how to say it. And I love telling stories. And so thanks to Becca planting the seed, and this is a lot about planting seeds. So for some of you that are thinking about the dreams in your heart, and we're going to talk about one of those dreams today, in one of my friends' heart, Gigi, and thinking about something gets planted in your heart, and then how do you water that so you get to where you're trying to go? So once again, 10 years ago today, we launched Wellness on a Shoestring, that whole movement, with the help of Unity Village. They're my publisher, and Charlotte Shelton, who had Believing Eyes. And so I pulled together some of my team members today to celebrate them, because, you know, on the show, we like to celebrate, guide, connect, which provide hope. And so I'll let them tell you some of their story. And then what we'll do is maybe talk through the 7 habits and have some fun, talk about building rhythm and resilience. So, hey, Crystal, I'm going to start with you because I think you've got to jump off sooner than anybody else. And so this is Crystal, and Crystal actually is in the book. And the magic of the book is really chapter 4. Crystal, do you remember chapter 4 in Wellness on a Shoestring?
I do. I do. My Free Your Space.
Yeah. So first of all, tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then why is there so much magic in Free Your Space?
So I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor in private practice. And so I see clients one-on-one at Your Wellness Connection. That's where my office is based out of. But probably my other job that takes up another huge amount of time is I work for the Hoffman Institute, which is based out of California. And I'm a teacher for them, a coach for them, and I am the director of teacher training. So I split my time between Kansas City and Northern California. And right now, as of late in COVID land, I spend a whole lot of time on Zoom conferencing as all my clients moved to Zoom, and the Hoffman Institute moved to doing a bunch of stuff virtually. So as much as, I think it was Winston Churchill that said, never waste a good crisis. We have actually developed an amazing amount of protocols and procedures and new programs with Hoffman. And at the same time, I have learned how to do my practice online, which affords me to be at the lake a whole lot. So that's the good news. I am sitting at my lake house right now.
Well, great. What I want to dive in just a little bit, because we're in an interesting time where we're talking about, and I'm not going to make this about racism or anything like that today, but we're talking about patterns. And so with everything that's going on in the world today, can you talk about any insights you have about this whole patterning, and how do we help people be more whole and more loving and more kind to each other? By the way, once again, for everybody, this is a last minute show. Literally, these people said I'll jump on within the last hour. So I'm putting them really on this spot.
Yeah, you're asking big questions. That's like asking me how world peace. How do we get to world peace? Sandra Bullock, my favorite. You know, we learn. We just learn so much as children by the environments that we grow up in, and so much. I think of what I experience of what's going on today, just in my own community, is I just didn't know what I didn't know, and I never even thought to look. And you know, I think that's unfortunate because my parents were pretty vanilla and they were pretty Midwest, and so I really didn't understand that I missed out. I really did miss out, and I think the thing right now is we're just patterned in a way that we don't ever look any deeper than the stories that we tell ourselves, or the status quo that we live in. And I actually love what's happening because it's forcing everyone, even myself, to look beyond how I was conditioned, how I was patterned, how I was brought up. Even though my life felt pretty damn good, I missed out. And so now I think we all get to look a little bit deeper and hopefully course correct. You know, this is, I think for me, this is a real big fork in the road. Anything that was learned can be unlearned. So we can learn better. We can do better. So as hard as this is, I really see this as a really exciting time because finally I think things are going to change.
You know, I'm going to stay with you for just a second, and I'm going to come back to Free Your Space. But, you know, you grew up in Wyandotte County, and I remember you saying your mother had a beauty shop. Tell that story, because you were on the periphery a little bit as you think about it.
Yeah. So yeah, I grew up in Wyandotte County. My mom had her own beauty salon, but it was down on 10th and Central. And so if you're from Kansas City, that is not the greatest part of town in the last 10, 15 years. Back when I was a kid growing up, it was a great part of town. That's where my mom started her business. And I will never forget the day that, and I'll back up just a little bit. I had free choice to run all over the streets of downtown 10th and Central. I could go to the pharmacy. I could go to I could go down and get hamburgers and fries. I mean, I was like 8. There was no fear. There wasn't anything. And I will never forget the day my mom said, "You're not going outside today." And in fact, she closed all the blinds because we were storefront, big glass windows. And I heard all this noise, and you know, I'm peeking out the window, and what I saw was marching and protesting. And so a big group of people just were heading down the street, and all I could see and hear was just noise. And what I heard was anger. And these were African American people that actually were, some of them were actually in my mom's salon. She did everybody's hair. And it was scary to me. And I think on that day, I, for the very first time, had an experience that I was clueless, and I didn't understand it. And I got scared, and I followed my mom and dad's lead, which was to shut the doors, lock the doors, because this is something to be feared. So I grew up fearing Black people. I grew up fearing mobs of crowds. I grew up, and I didn't know I didn't know. All I knew is that these people were pissed, and they were pissed at us.
Having you that have lived through that experience, and now you're coaching people, and what full circle. I mean, you just, I don't know about you, I'm getting chills. You just cannot make this stuff up. It's just crazy. How would you guide parents today? What would you have had your parents do differently today? Or listening out to the people that write today are saying, oh, how could we respond differently to embrace and encourage and guide people?
Well, I want to look at the times of the day and the time that was going on right then. My mom and dad didn't have the capacity to sit down and have a conversation because they were scared. They couldn't, come from a neutral place of having this nice, lovely conversation because they were just reacting how they matched the situation. But, if it were today, I wish that, we have conversations with our children about here's why these people are angry. Here's what's happened, and educate. I mean, we watched the movie last weekend, Michelle, of 13, and oh my God, what an education. I had no idea. But I got to hear the other side of the story. I got to get a different perspective. I have to be open enough. And this is the place where I think we teach our children is get a different viewpoint, get a different perspective, walk in someone else's shoes, go and talk and have conversations around, hey, teach me, tell me what I don't know. Tell me what it's like for you. And shut up and not say anything. For God's sake, we could be better listeners. We talk too much. So it's my 2 cents.
Too much talking. Well, first of all, thanks for sharing that. Like I said, I know that some of the backstory, so I don't want to make this that conversation, but I don't want to ignore that conversation because it is very important. Well, oddly enough, you mentioned Sandra Bullock, and I picked up a quote deck before I got on, not knowing where I was going with it because that's how I roll. And I had picked a Sandra Bullock quote to share. Always choose people better. Always choose people that are better than you. Always choose people that challenge you and are smarter than you, and always be a student. And so I've been fortunate enough to surround myself around amazing people. And I think we're challenged right now to learn the other side. And thanks for bringing up the movie 13. I thought that was fascinating, and then learning about Loving Day, and that was last week, and just all kinds of craziness. So when you think about wellness on a shoestring, we're talking about the 7 habits for a healthy life. And the book came about once again because someone asked me to write a book, and I had started thinking about what are the habits that I'm continually encouraging my clients to do. Now, it's hard to believe, 28 years, just absolutely craziness. And the first one is rest, reflect, rejuvenate. And to me, sleep is non-negotiable. If you talk to my mother, I've been sleeping pretty well since I was a kid. I've had my moments through menopause, through an accident, through monkey mind. I do have moments of not sleeping, but sleep is non-negotiable. Rest, reflect, rejuvenate. Breathe is chapter 2. 3, free your space. Move your body, move it or lose it. Free your space, which Krista was talking about. And I believe what we're being called right now, we put free your space in the middle, really not knowing it, because people know, and Lucy, I'm going to come to you. People know they need to move, and they know they need to sleep. Do they really put a priority to it? I don't know. And they know they need to eat better. And Lucy, I'm going to let you talk about that in just a minute. But right in the middle of the book, in these habits, is this magic of free your space. And it's, yes, we've all been decluttering our lives with COVID-19, probably one of the gifts of COVID-19. But once you get rid of the stuff, you've got to look into your heart. I was on a call this morning with a young lady who reached out to me, and we were talking about her career path. And she said, well, I kind of get antsy and I want to move every 3 years in my job. And I said to her, why? I said, why do you feel like you need to move? And that goes back to free your space. How do you dive into your heart? What's missing in your life right now that you feel like you have to move? And that's part of the magic. And I think free your space is just, it could be a whole year's conversation. Chapter 5, go for the greens. I'm a French fry Friday kind of girl, but it's really important to get as many greens as you can into your life. And then sunshine, vitamin D, and omega-3s, as well as water. So Lucy, hey, Lucy, you actually weren't in the book. Crystal was in the book. You weren't actually in the book, but we met right before the book came out. Do you remember that?
I definitely remember it. It was great.
Yeah.
It's just been an inspiration watching what you've done. I mean, it's like watching a family member just grow. It's just been awesome. So thank you for being a rock star for the wellness community. I appreciate you. A little bit about my background is I was a professional athlete, and I took that from California where I was living, brought it back to the Midwest where I'm from. And my calling was, okay, a lot of people know what they should and shouldn't do, but can you make it personable and real so they can do it, bite size, right? And that's what you do so well with your book. It's bite size, people can do it. It's not overwhelming. So what I did is I grew my own company, which is Takoi Wellness, which stands for Take Care of You, just showing them the steps of what are the little things you can do. And then they had this perfect book that had it written up. So it was great. I would be talking and coaching it, and here they could reference that. The whole movement thing is, if you don't move it, you lose it. And it's just think of a rubber band, you flex it and goes. I remember my dad, who was a mailman, and he had rubber bands on his gear shift. And if it's sitting in the sun, it would just get dried and harder, and you go pick one and it would just snap, right? So it was kind of like all my life I was blessed to have a great family. I'm the youngest of 10. So we were always doing something, it wasn't organized sports, but it was always doing something. So I took all of that into my Takoi Wellness to now I'm at TVH Parts, which is a global company. And I've made this into a program. So I'm on-site coaching. And the great thing is I have a 40-week program, but I'm also able just to help mentor people that might be wanting to do it for themselves or for their business. So going with what Crystal was saying, I love that with the mental side, because you have 2 ears and 2 eyes to see what's going on and 1 mouth. So just cut this down a little bit and start seeing and feel with your heart more. I mean, you were spot on with that. So it was a great visual when you were talking about that. So, so the movement part, which I'm all about, always keeping people moving. One of the things I've done here at TVH is I do a daily plank. We do a plank, and it could be for 30 seconds. It could be a longer time. If you think planking's not hard, but you try to do it, and then you'll learn really quickly. But in getting it involved into your daily routine is the biggest key. Don't make it so big that people can't do it. So we've done high knee challenges where they marching in place. We've done the plank. We've done the wall sit. We've done the cardio balance where you're just doing like a Rocky thing. And when people do that, they go, well, this is doable. And they add it into their day. So we've had hundreds of people when we do this throughout the company do it, but it's not overwhelming. I love the walking challenges, which are great, but just get them started. Give them that appetizer. I can do that.
Yeah. Motion is lotion. Well, Lucy, thanks for always being a cheerleader. I really need that. We always need people around us that help us help lift us up, and you're one of those people, and I'm so grateful for that. So
I'm thankful for you.
We're in it together. Teamwork makes the dream work. Awesome. Hey, so this Wellness on a Shoestring program that came about, we had Wellness on a Shoestring, the book that Charlotte Shelton helped really bring to life through Unity and through my publisher. And then there's always people behind the scenes that are helping making you look good. And one of those people was Shelley Murray. And Shelley couldn't get on the call with us today, but Shelley really helped me on the behind the scenes and helped coach clients. She was at Your Wellness Connection from 2006 to January of 2017, if I got my dates right in my mind. And so, Shelley, I know you couldn't be with us today, but I'm so grateful for that. And Shelley, with the help of Gigi Lane, who joined us today, they took and helped make this program into a 7-course program where people could actually not only learn to really dive into the habits, but also teach it. And so, Gigi, thanks for joining me today.
Hello, congratulations on the 10 years. It seems like it was yesterday.
It does. Well, I want to tell you, I just have so much love for you for many reasons. Gosh, this is our 20, how many years have we known each other now?
24 years.
24 years. Yes, your daughter
Chancey just turned 40.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Craziness. So Gigi was really big in Believing Eyes. And Gigi, what's your story? What's kind of your background? And then what kind of cool stuff are you up to now?
Oh, great. So my story is that my career has always been in corporate America, and it's always been in training and development. So designing curriculum, delivering curriculum. And we met you, like we said, 24 years ago, just with an issue with my daughter's stomach. And you were the only doctor who took an x-ray and saw that it was just an adjustment that needed to be fixed. And that was the beginning of our journey. We stayed in contact. And so when you wrote Wellness on a Shoestring, you had designed the curriculum so that it could be delivered in businesses. And she struck a chord with me there. And so I was more than happy to help train trainers. So that's what Shelley and I did. We would have small groups, anywhere from 5 to 10 people, that we would spend a week with them, teaching them how to teach the curriculum Wellness on a Shoestring. The best part of that was that I was able to kind of go through my own personal refresher every time. So as we're studying Go for Your Greens or Free Your Space or the sleep, it was just little nuggets of reminders saying, Gigi, are you doing this? And so the impact it had on my own health was tremendous. I think the one thing that stays with me the most is at one point I was organizational development manager for Harley Davidson. And they were looking for a wellness program. So we got a group of people there certified to teach it and introduced it to the plant in Kansas City with almost 1,000 employees. It was so well received in that environment. People just enjoyed the opportunity to take 30 minutes and think about themselves. You know, what is it that's important to me? And thank you, Harley Davidson, for giving me 30 minutes to think about myself and how to be more attuned to my own wellness. I remember as we introduced each one of the segments, I was always a little nervous. How are these Harley riders going to accept some of the stuff that we would talk about? And I get goosebumps thinking about it because they were looking forward to the classes. They enjoyed the classes. But to watch these guys sit around with, you know, their big muscles, they're just coming right off the line of building motorcycles, and we're learning how to meditate. They're totally engaged. They're in tune, they've let their body calm down, and they loved it. And that was one of my favorite sessions with the group, was teaching them how to meditate. So that was probably the really exciting experience that I had with it. Since then, over the last 10 years, I've moved to Florida to pursue my own interests. Always staying connected to Michelle. She's already been down here a couple of times. And I decided to go back to school and get my degree in traditional Chinese medicine. So in less than a year, I will be an acupuncture physician with also doing herbal medicine. And right now at the intern level, I'm seeing my own patients without other doctors. So that's really exciting. But I think what opened my eyes with Wellness on a Shoestring, twofold. It doesn't involve a lot of money to be well. You know, I get all these patients that come in and they say, hey, this is what's going on. And my first thought was, how are you sleeping? You know, it's as simple as taking care of your sleep patterns, your food patterns, your exercise patterns. There's no cost to it. So that was one thing that I really was probably touched by with Wellness on a Shoestring. And the second is that it doesn't have to be so difficult. The prevention of illness is so neglected in our society. Of I'm healthy now, so I don't have to do anything. We forget that, yes, we do have to take care of this body. There are things that will extend our wellness if we start doing them at an early time. So that's been a real strong mantra that I've learned through Wellness on a Shoestring. Simplicity. Oh my goodness, the green smoothie. How many places do we go and serve up hundreds and hundreds of green smoothies to different corporations and different functions? Simplicity, it's great. So that's where I am. And actually working part-time. I really thought once I got into school I would be done with curriculum, but I had a wonderful offer to write curriculum for our joint special operations in the military. So I do that part-time also. Yeah, busy.
Busy, full. It's a full life, right?
Yes, it's a happy life.
Well, we were serving green smoothies before they were cool. Remember when people didn't want to try them and we're like, just one drink, and they're like, oh, it's not so bad. Well, we knew how to make it so most people liked it.
Yeah, it was interesting color. If it was green and no one wanted to touch anything green. And they would say that it's the color. So in one of your chapters, you talk about go for the greens. And that was another aha for me was I brought in like 10 different greens into the organization, and we played a game, Name Your Greens. And out of 15, 20 people, only one person knew all the greens. So that whole concept of education, it's huge. It's getting people to really realize that there's a lot out there. As Crystal was saying, we only know our own patterns. I grew up in the Midwest and my husband grew up in the Philippines. Trust me, we cook entirely differently because of our patterns. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. You know, Lucy, I had a quote for you too. I forgot to share it. And this is you. Kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless. And so that's how I feel about you and all the courage that you push my way and cheer me on. So, and Gigi, what's fascinating with you is you wanted to be an acupuncturist before you ever had acupuncture. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. I was totally fascinated by what I saw. I guess inquisitive. I was very curious about how these needles impact the body. And then I don't know if you remember, I had thyroid cancer. And after my first treatment, I was extremely ill. You bat your eyes and you want to throw up, right? That's just the way it is. And I called you from bed and you said, come in and have an acupuncture treatment. And I literally had to have someone drive me. And I remember going in, showing my tongue, checking my pulse, and your acupuncturist said, you're a very sick girl. Yes, I am. I didn't even tell her that I had had my thyroid removed. But the next thing she said is, oh, you easy fix. And I walked out of there, went to the grocery store, and was just totally believed in what it did to my system. And to this day, I use it for everything. My grandkids, Grandma, do my ears. I have allergies. So it's been a real plus.
Well, speaking of ears, we could give a tip right now about rubbing your ears. So sometimes when I'm adjusting, people actually rub their ears, and I don't think they really realize why, but we know that through auricular therapy, this is the oracle, there's a bunch of acupuncture points to the ear. Since you're the Chinese medicine expert now, you've got more hours than I officially have at 300. Tell me a little bit about what's auricular therapy and give everybody a little something they can do right now to calm down their system. I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So auricular medicine is actually one of my favorites. I love it. We actually will do it with the same. For instance, if you've got someone who comes in and they're nauseated, well, I can do some points on the body that'll have that, but I'm going to do the stomach, and there's other points that I'm going to do. So we have patients who are very familiar with auricular. You can use press tacks, you can use the ear seeds, you can use needles. But I tell people that there's things that you can do at home. So if you look where the lobe is and it connects to the face or the side of the head, that's what a lot of my patients call the happy point. That's for anxiety. So isn't it interesting that when people, they get anxious or something, they'll play with their earlobe, but it's right where the skin and the lobe meet. Just take and just kind of put pressure on it, and that can calm a person down. Yeah. Okay, so the other thing that's just a really fun story.
Don't get you started. Here we go, sister.
I know we could do hours. One thing, I'll tell you one thing. So you remember pirates always had the pierced ear? If you look at the picture of the ear, according to Chinese medicine, that is right where your eye is. Mm-hmm. And they totally believed that if they pierced it, their vision improved to see over the waters, to see long. And so interesting that way back then, they realized that that point is the eye. Yeah. So look at it as a baby. This is the baby's head. This will be the baby's spine. All the organs are in the middle. So if I want to work on the feet or the knees up here, yeah.
So much cool stuff. So I'm going to go to the guy that makes all this behind the scenes happen, because I'm going to ask him to send you guys a couple things, but he's got to tell me how it's done. So just so you know, I kind of make stuff up. Some would call shift up as we go along. And then I have to say, oh gosh, can we really get that done? But Gigi, I have a quote for you. And
yes.
What I love about you, most people, you've talked about a corporate career, and it's been at least 20 years, maybe 30 years, maybe even a 40-year corporate career. And you went back to school. And this quote's perfect for you. This is by Mary Oliver. Tell me, what is your plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And you make me smile that you're starting this whole new career, and I know your age. So, hey, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you to share this journey together.
Your life never ends. It's a constant learning.
And I want to give a shout out. You brought some new people into my life that I didn't know. Anna and Joni, who are both wellness and shoestring facilitators. And of course, the Harley Davidson team. How do you not love them? Sad they're not in Kansas City anymore, but such wonderful souls, TJ and the team. But I just want to, for Joni and Anna who are watching this later, hey, we love you and we appreciate you helping us spread the message around the country for wellness on a shoestring. So, hey, I'm going to go to my guy, Zach. And once again, I am in the behind the scenes, there's somebody that makes all this happen. Literally, I show up, I do my show, maybe a couple emails, and it's got to happen on the back end. And Zach, we figured it's been about 10 years since we've been working together.
Mm-hmm. Yep, right around then.
And, you know, I'm a collector of people, and I want to give a shout out to our friend Shelly Kramer, who connected us. And Shelly and I go way back. I have to tell you, if you're not following Shelly Kramer, she's one of my voices that I try to get out all the noise, because I know she gets some research. We all have to have noise that we're following. So I want to say, Shelly, thank you for the best gift ever. And it's my guy, Zach. So Zach, what's it like to be behind the scenes of, you know, you did the cover of the book, you helped with the E Factor, and then we have 7 books, had 0 10 years ago, 7. And then we have 3 extensive curriculums, one for wellness and shoestring, one for E Factor, and then we have this whole shift experience, which kind of brings everything together like a waffle. What's it like on the back end of having to keep up with all that?
So no, it's very true. It evolves over time, and it was really exciting to be part of it at the very beginning. I came in, the book had already been semi-launched already, and to be able to come in with the material, and I agree, shout out to Shelly Kramer to make that connection. And being behind the scenes offers a unique look of not just the design, but also the layout of everything and how it gets translated to be able to be presentable. And in order to do that, you actually have to read through the material and see what the best way to present that is. And so everything that Michelle has done, anything through the speaking or anything through your wellness connection is all, I've digested it all and gone through and read it all. And it's almost like I get a free degree in Michelle. So it's like I have a PhD in Michelle and what she teaches. So and it's been, for me personally, transformative. Eye-opening in a lot of different ways, and being able to take those and apply them personally to myself, and now my family. And anything from the Wellness on a Shoestring up until the more recent material. It's in all aspects of health and mental and physical and everything. I love it. It's been one of my favorite things to be able to work on.
Well, for those listening, once again, there's absolutely zero way I could do this without Zach. And what's so nice, he knows me so well. It can be a quick 2-minute phone call and he's like, yeah, I got it. And we may have to go back and forth, but rarely do we have to do that because of the work. And, we're doing we did this whole Rhythm and Resilience series. And for those of you who get a chance to follow that, Zach, is that on YouTube if they want to go back and watch it?
Yep. All 25 days, I want to say. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so literally, I called Zach, and then you'll meet Eleanor in a little bit, and said, I got this hit to do this series. And by the way, it's going to take a couple hours of your time every day, Monday through Friday for the month of April. And he didn't even hesitate. So thank you for going on this wild ride. Talk about the quote for Gigi. It's a wild ride, and I couldn't do it without you.
Well, thank you. I love you. You've been an integrative part in me personally, and Desiree, my wife, and even Ollie, our little one. It meant the absolute world that you showed up there at the hospital when you came in. It just you and Crystal. I want to give a shout out to Crystal too, because I pull a lot off of you, what you speak and through your materials. And anytime I get an interaction with Crystal, I'm so zoned in on her because I absolutely love her. And I was so excited for her and what she said on this call. It's the two of you together are just awesome. I love the both of you.
It's funny. I was going through my Facebook, and I'm emotional for a couple of reasons, Zach. One, you have an Oliver, and your Oliver was born right before my Oliver. I have 2 Olivers in a week that are a week apart in age, and it's going to be so fun for them to hopefully get to meet each other someday. But I was going through my Facebook feed this morning of memories, and what a great thing they've done with memories. And I got to see where Lucy posted about the night we had, and my friend Pam posted about Wellness and Shoestring. And, here you are, you're just, up in front of people at about 500 people at Unity, thanks to Unity for hosting us, and people just loving on you. So that was awesome. But what was really touched my heart there is I was going through, and there's a patient that we tell her story in Wellness on a Shoestring, and I couldn't invite her to be with us today because she's no longer living, and she's young, and I'm sorry, it's extremely emotional today. But her name was Laura, and Laura is referred to me by somebody, I don't remember who at the moment, but Laura came in to see me, and Laura had MS, and Laura had on her chart back in the day, we had paper charts, and we had a few people that we put in the chart, no hugs, and Laura was a no hug person because of her wounds. And this is why free your space is so important. So parents, you got to hear this. You've got to do your work so you can help your kids be the best version of themselves, because the world desperately needs you to show up and heal. And so Laura became part of our tribe. And by the way, she liked hugs afterwards. She even, the picture that came up on my Facebook feed today, because this is her birthday week, was her holding my dog. And I actually text Crystal this morning because, like she said, she's at the lake and I'm in Kansas City. And I said, we've had some really wonderful people come in our life. Look at this picture of Laura. And she goes, she was really happy that day. And so the people that can't be on this call, the people that are on this call, it just melts my heart to think about how we get to have shared this journey. So Zach, I've got a question for you, and you might be able to figure this out. How can we put an auricular chart for the ear point into the show notes today? Is that possible?
Yeah. If not, probably after, what we'll do is we'll pull one that we want to use, and then we'll put it in as a comment. But we can also reference it later, because this one will come out next week on the actual podcast, and we can include it there for people to grab and download. And then
what is the process? I really don't know. So some people are following us on Facebook Live today, and just so you know, this is our 3rd Facebook Live today. We're in Zoom, Facebook Live. We're trying to go to StreamYard, and we just want to try to reach more people. I'm on a mission to reach 1 billion people. That small changes can lead to big shifts. My life's been changed because of this message, and I wanted to share that with you. So what do they need to do? I don't know. I just
Yeah. So what will happen is when this we're on live right now, everybody kind of gets the sneak peek, a week early, and then this show released on the podcast platform for replay next week, so next Wednesday. So it'll be available on the website, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google, just a ton of the platforms out there. And in the show notes will be stuff that we've talked about, and then we'll include the download of the chart for the year, and they can just download it right from there. It'll just be a PDF they can just open and view on anything they want.
And they can sign up to be on that email list. You said that.
Yeah, right there. There's a spot to receive it's just every Wednesday morning they'll get an alert. Hey, this is who the guest is going to be, and they'll give some information, and they can join right there. We're pushing everybody to Facebook Live and coming soon LinkedIn as well. And below that will be, if you happen to miss a week or last week's show or the week, there'll be a couple replays down there, and you can watch the video on YouTube or any platform you guys are subscribed to. And then below that is just more information of how to stay connected, whether it's signing up to receive the alerts or some of the information about your wellness connection. So,
Zach, can we give them the free e-version of Spoils No Shoestring today? Is that easy to do?
Yeah. No, it exists as a digital book, and we can. I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do that right now. If you want, what we'll do is we'll put a download link since this is being broadcast on Facebook, we'll put a download link in the Facebook comments. So if you want to come back to the video after we're done, and then we'll include a link right there. We'll be able to just download it.
Great. Thank you. See why he's on the team. I want to do this, but I have no idea how to do it. I don't even know where to go find the book, to be totally transparent. Wow. I am emotional today. I would think I was getting ready to start my period, but that sip shelled a while ago. So I'm just reflecting on the journey. My hands are even clammy and sweaty, and that doesn't happen after doing the show for 7 years. And so Zach, here's the quote I picked for you today. I love you, first of all. Thank you for having my back. This is by Brene Brown. Having trouble getting it together here. Here we go. Brene Brown. I don't have to chase extraordinary moments to find happiness. It's right in front of me if I'm paying attention and practicing gratitude. I want to tell you I'm paying attention today, and I'm extremely grateful for you. And I'm seeing some of the comments you guys are putting in the notes. Thanks so much. It's been such an amazing journey. And so, hey, I want to come to Eleanor. Eleanor is one of the newest people on our team. She joined us in February, right before COVID-19. And Eleanor has been behind the scenes typing all the show notes. She gets on calls with all my corporate clients and all this stuff. My nose is going to run. While Eleanor's talking, I'm going to go get a Kleenex because I'm going to have snot running down my nose here in a minute. But Eleanor has been on, she helped do all the notes for Rhythm and Resilience, this series that we created. And then when I'm on a corporate call, she's on that call, and I could see what downloads in my spirit to share with them. And she captures that so that we could deliver on what I promise. And so once again, I get to walk in, do the show, and then I get to leave and I get to go do on to the next thing. People say to me, how do you do everything you do? Because I have phenomenal people around me. So Eleanor, talk about what you've learned through Rhythm and Resilience. And I'm gonna get a Kleenex, so don't think I'm going very far.
Oh, wow. A lot. Like Dr. Robbins said, I'm new to the team February, so I'm a rookie. But I think one of the biggest takeaways was the power of connection. And Dr. Michelle's immediate response to COVID was one, giving everything away. She was just like, take this, take these vitamins. Her first response, and then let's bring everyone together. And to have people just share what they were going through, and then the silver lining, to be a part of that every day during a time where everything was unknown, that was huge for me. So I loved being a part of that project. It was a complete whirlwind getting it together. But thankful for Dr. Robbins' idea, and then Zach and Lauren, some of the other team members I've been able to meet. But connection, the power of connection is the biggest takeaway from the Rhythm and Resilience series.
Great, Eleanor. Thanks for sharing that. I'm glad you brought up team. Eleanor, I've got a quote for you right here. It's an African proverb, and it's start with purpose, prepare with prayer, proceed positively in persistent pursuit of your goals. and you've helped me reach a goal by getting this series out there. And you know, sometimes you don't know why you're doing what you're doing until afterwards. And my team and I, we were talking probably the first week of June or the last week of May, and it was like, holy moly, we got through the hardest month of April because we relied on other people. And we took their wisdom and we let it sink into our soul. And then we shared it with our followers to say, you know what, we're going to do this. We're going to get through this. And I want to tell you, we're in tough times. You know, I think I mentioned earlier, and I don't know, it's not today, on an earlier call today, I was out walking this morning. What a gorgeous morning. It's my favorite month of the year, by the way. I don't love the 90-degree weather. I wish it was really June weather. But, and I was thinking of my friend Eleanor, Dr. Eleanor, who's just amazing. And she's been such a champion for me. We've known each other for 20 some years now. And in the medical profession as an MD, she would refer me her patients, never having been to a chiropractor yet still. But I got a hit to text her. And there's just so many phenomenal people. I want you, if you take one thing from this call today, is people matter. That's the most important thing that'll ever happen in your life, is people and connection. And when you get a nudge to reach out to somebody, do it. You just don't know what they're going through. And Eleanor, hopefully if you're listening, I love you, first of all. And second of all, when I said, I'm thinking of you, and Eleanor and her husband are African-Americans. They've been phenomenal community leaders. They've been talking. She's the first person that said to me, violence is a public health issue. And so is racism. And I said, I'm thinking of you and I love you. And she said, I was having a really tough morning. Here's a picture of my dad that was inspiring me. Thanks for reaching out. And maybe her daddy told me to call. You just don't know. I don't know your beliefs, but I believe we're all connected. And that's what breaks my heart when I see what's happening with each other. So as we soften our heart up a little bit more, I do want to, Eleanor mentioned Lauren. And so in my world, just so you know, I have we call it DMR, Dr. Michelle Robin team. And then we have the YWC team. And on the DMR team, you've got Zach, who's kind of makes it all happen behind the scenes. And you got Eleanor, and then Lauren helps book our podcast guest. She's in New Zealand. She'll be joining us. She's not quite up yet, probably. And then you have Becca, and we have Kelly, who's my speaking agent. So there's a team of people over here that I get to be in front of, but they're the ones who are propping me up. If you have to have legs to stand on, and they're the ones propping me up. And then of course you have the YWC team, Anita, who's running that team, and Emily, who tries to keep up with me every day. I'm sure she wonders how I'm double her age, and anyhow, but she's working out with Eleanor, so we're going to make that happen. And then you have all the practitioners, the chiropractors, and not just the practitioners that are at YWC now, but the many that have come and gone. And I have to tell you, I'm a people collector, and it's hard. It breaks my heart when people leave. We just had a bunch of massage therapists leave. There's kind of a life where people say, okay, I can go do my own thing. And even though it breaks my heart, it's also opens my heart up to just trust that there's something bigger going on, because somebody always fabulous shows up. And so that's very cool. So I do want to give a shout out to the YWC team, all the practitioners there that entrust me to be in your lives and share the clients. And how do you do this without having phenomenal clients? I think the greatest gift at all is to be able that people want your guidance. And I want to tell you, I don't take that lightly. If I lose sleep over anything, it's making sure I'm not missing something and I'm giving good guidance. But it'd be remiss if I did not help to close up the show with the people that made this one book happen. Off this one book, there's 7 other books. There's, once again, 2 curriculums, 3 curriculums. There's a quote decks. There's a new surprise, not a surprise anymore, because I'm going to say it to you now. This fall, we have a new a deck coming out, but it's 52 tips. So it's 52 wellness tips based on the quadrants of well-being. That'll be coming out this fall. It's a 3-year project that I personally had in the back of my mind to do, and my team is working hard on it right now to bring it to you. So you can just pick a card for the week and say, okay, kids, this week we're focusing on gratitude. This week we're focusing on our posture. This week we're focusing on breathing. This week we're focusing on our green smoothies. And so that's super exciting. That's the next product coming out. There's a book in there. People ask me, what's the next book? I feel it. It's probably 2022. I don't know if I feel it into 2021, but I feel it percolating. So Zach and Becca, get ready for that. So I want to thank all the people that really, they let us interview them for this book. First of all, Shelley Murray, key person in my life, not just with this book, but 5 years ago this month, I had my bike accident, June 29th. I'm a big date nerd. I'm probably on the autistic spectrum there. So I can say that out loud for the first time ever in my life, but big date nerd. And Shelley really helped walk me through healing. And here I am, 98% pain-free and have 95% of my brain back since that accident, that head injury. Of course, Gigi for bringing in Anna and Joni and all the other facilitators that you brought in. The people, the patients let us tell their stories. Francine, I love you. I know you're moving back to Oklahoma. I'll miss you. Anna Pye, and then Gina and Lee and Patty and Karen and Linda and Bakeka and Aaron and Fred. I'm looking at names. Tara and Corey. It takes a village to get through this life. So as you're moving through life right now, count your blessings by the people that let you in their life, and practice the LTR, lifetime relationships, is really show up for people. And this team right here, once again, I text them literally at 11:39, I think the time said, and would you consider joining me on a Facebook Live today to talk about 10 years of Wellness on a Shoestring? And 6 people were able to get on. So how cool is that? Last minute. Remember, Try matters. So show up for people. So thank you for showing up today. Be a go-giver. Really think about, how could I help other people? My friend Joel reached out to me today and said, hey, can I connect you with this person? He's got a great story. I said, Joel, I trust you. You never, ever have to ask me if you think they're worthy of me meeting, I'm in. And Aaron, I know you're watching too, and you are a great people connector. And same thing for you when we do that. So show up, be a go-giver, and then celebrate each other. And so I thank you for celebrating. I know I'm hearing congratulations and all that. This is really about us collectively as a community expanding our ripple so that we can impact this whole message. When there is love, you can't have hate. When there is love, you can't have hate. So celebrate each other, celebrate the good things happening. There's so many. I'm watching this young thing, Kiana Sinks, who's just rocking it on her Up Next podcast. I'd encourage you to check in so you could get educated about the African-American culture. And I'm embarrassed about some of the things that we have done as you watch the movie 13, or I'm reading the book White Fragility right now. How we hurt other people. And the fourth one is do one-on-ones, whether it's by Zoom now or whether it's a walk, or I know some people are doing some small lunches or dinners, but get to know people's soul. When you know their soul versus their role, then you're really able to make a heart-to-heart connection that will really shift you forever. I spent the weekend with my friends, Jennifer and Daryl and Gary and Chang. So we had the Vietnamese culture. And by the way, she's a fabulous cook. I had to come home and go on a detox because I had so much fried rice and pad thai, but it was yummy. Maybe a cocktail or two. I did have some cookies too, just so you know. But to have Daryl and Jennifer talk about Loving Day, they've been married about 10 years, I think it was about 10 years, and a biracial couple. You can even marry who you loved. That's why they had a Loving Day. I had no idea. And so just keep learning, keep loving. And I do want to give a shout out because I got this new hat this week from my friend Diana and her daughter Reagan. I think at Live Love Lake. So Crystal, I know I'm going to be sharing that with you, Live, Love, Lake. And so keep loving each other. Thanks for joining me on today's special edition of the podcast. Who knew my guest? I can't even think of his name right now. What a gift he did for me today so I'm sorry his father's sick, but I'm glad I got a chance to have this conversation instead on this very special day when it kind of launched me into speaking and sharing my story. So, and once again, to Becca, Becca's helped me so much with some of the back end of getting my voice down. And we have another team member, Emily, who helps with all of our curriculum back on the East Coast. There's just, when I think about it, I'm like, who do I leave out? Because God, it is a village, such a village here. So team, anything you want to share as we wrap up? No? Zach, anything?
I just want to throw out that one of the things that I truly miss just because of everything that's going on right now is, and everybody will agree with me on this one, is the amazing hugs that we have been missing out from Michelle. And I know that every time that I've come in, that's one of the first things I always look for. And it's not just a hug, it's a heart-to-heart hug. So, and that I miss it. I miss that, and I can't wait for that to just, I don't know what the term is, to be acceptable again, to be able to do that again. So that's that's it. That's all I have.
You know, I'm going to piggyback on that, Zach, because I'm the hugger, as everyone here is, and people are missing it so much. So I have my own little way I've been dealing with it. Is I point my eyes, I point at them, and then I give them a hug. So you can use that in the meantime.
That is so good. I like that.
Yeah, I love
Thank
that.
you, Michelle.
Yeah, I've been doing kind of heart-to-heart hugs, but I'm missing the touch. Eleanor, you good? Anything you need from me to wrap up the show today?
I'm just so thankful. So thank you for everything you're working on and allowing me to be a part of it. It's been amazing.
Sister Gigi?
No, stay healthy.
Oh, you too. And I'll see you soon. I'm coming to Florida to see the fam and celebrate my friend Lucas. So I'll definitely look you up and come get some acupuncture.
Absolutely.
You know me, wherever I go, I got to find an acupuncture, chiropractic, occasionally massage therapist, but for sure acupuncture and chiropractic. So, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Pat Kahn and Dr. Yenny and the Lakins, who are there's so many good people in my life. And so, Angela, you posted today in my feed was about your vibe attracts your tribe. And so work on your vibe. And the way you work on your vibe is by you eating clean food, you moving, being intentional about what you put into your mind and what you put into your heart. It's what you fed. So hey, here's my closing quote for the show today. Here we go. Be the type of person that no matter where you go or where you are, you always add value to those lives of those around you. So thanks for adding value to my life, everybody. All right. Blessings to all of you. Hey, go out and spread the love. Do something fun for yourself, and don't forget to get your kids involved. We need to heal their hearts and souls. All right. Chat soon. I sure appreciate you listening to Small Changes, Big Shifts. If you go to the website, smallchangesbigshifts.com, we'll have the show notes ready for you there. If this episode inspired you to make a small change that will lead to a big shift, please share with a friend. You can catch our episode on Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and our website. And if you feel like it, please leave a rating or a comment. Be sure to subscribe so you can catch our episode next week. Blessings to you.